Is Cam Heyward giving in to the Steelers? Has Mike Tomlin lost his mind in terms of preseason participation? Who will actually suit up in Charlotte Thursday night? I have been surprised by a lot of different things today, and we're going to be talking about some of those different things with Chris Halleck when he joins us in the moment. But I do feel compelled to point out before any of that football is not exactly the type of sport where you can just show up and be ready for an NFL game. And I'm going to give you a really, I think, healthy reminder of why that is and what that looks like. A couple of years ago in Cincinnati, remember this now? Yeah, I'm triggering it already, right? The Bengals, they rested everybody through the preseason. They didn't do anything. It was bubble wrap galore. The Steelers show up at Paycor Stadium, and they're just they're ready to eat everybody alive. And guess what they did in the first half of that game? They ate everybody alive, especially in the first half. Now, TJ ended up getting hurt in that first half, but they were really, really, really ready to play, and the Bengals weren't. So lessons get learned, lessons get taught. New lessons emerge. A couple nights ago, the Bengals were playing a preseason game, and for some insane reason, they had Joe Burrow out there behind the world's worst offensive line. And they are that, if you haven't seen this footage. And Burrow's getting chased all over Ohio in this game. And finally, they're like, whoa, stop this, get him out of there. Have they learned something from it? I don't know. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Also, somebody else's problem. In the Steelers' case, I've been saying for a while here that I really am not crazy about the number of guys that are getting hidden here, that are getting buried. So Mike Tomlin, just a few minutes ago, said that the only ones that he knows for a fact, the only players that he knows for a fact that aren't going to get any action Thursday night in Charlotte are Aaron Rodgers, Cam Heyward, naturally, TJ Watt, and DK Metcalf. Those four. That doesn't mean they're the only four that aren't going to play. It means the only four he's going to let be known in advance. What does that mean? Oh, I don't know. It's even weird that he mentioned Cam, except that Cam practiced today. Cam was out there because Cam couldn't get ready for a season that he's expecting himself to have if he's not participating in anything. And he knows that. So, on that note, when we come back, we're going to be joined by Chris with the latest from the South Side today.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Welcome back to Double Shot of Steelers. I'm joined now by Chris Halleck over on the South Side. Chris, you know, it's funny. I was over there all day yesterday, and you had the day off, and I'm like, that's cool, though, because a lot of stuff happened, and at least today Chris will have a nice, easy, news-free day when he comes back because I took up all the news yesterday.
Nope. Nope. Now, granted, maybe not quite as crazy as yesterday. It did seem like a lot of stuff happened yesterday, and I kind of felt bad. But, yeah, I mean, obviously Cam Heyward putting the pads on. The second I got to practice and I saw Cam in the pads, I'm like, oh, this is going to have to be talked about afterward. But, I mean, it's not just the fact that he was in pads. Mike Tomlin said he participated in team period too. So it's interesting to see how this is developing. Now, the latest I've heard is that there's nothing new on the contract front. So I do know that Cam is doing workouts outside of the team. I do know that for a fact that he has been doing his own workouts too, as all players do when they are going through a contract dispute. negotiation, whatever it is. TJ Watt did that as well while they were negotiating. So Cam working out and getting ready for the season is going to be happening no matter what. But obviously it does help to do it with the team. And, well, that was a development today for sure. And, there's not much else to say other than that. But it's still worth absolutely noting, especially since there is no new news on the contract situation.
Well, speaking of no new news or news potentially on the contract front, Gabe Davis was supposed to fly up yesterday to Pittsburgh and was supposed to have another visit with the team today. Now, the way these things have gone in the past, you don't see that happen in the mornings. You don't see that, certainly don't happen while the team is in the fold. You're not mingling with the team that you're not a part of yet. So generally speaking, they happen later in the evening. Any sign of him whatsoever, Chris?
No, but it is worth noting that whenever he was here for his first visit back in May, I did see him while the team was here. So that was interesting to me at the time. Now, obviously, he didn't sign, and I got news immediately that he wasn't going to be signing a contract then, which obviously he did not. And then today, I did not see him at all today. Now, that doesn't mean he wasn't here. It doesn't mean that, that meeting isn't going to be taking place until later this evening. Maybe it's taking place right now. But I did not see him today. Now, granted, there was a pretty famous rock band here today, too, that was getting a lot of attention from a lot of people.
Drop the name.
So Lincoln Park was here today. They're playing PPG Fans Arena tonight.
Guess what, pal? Lincoln Park was here today.
Oh, really? They came to your store?
Yeah. They did. The boss here had no idea who they were. And she's going like this back there behind the camera right now. Lincoln Park's one of your bands, though.
That's my favorite band. It's been my favorite band since 2001. No, seriously, like
favorite band. You didn't know who they were.
Freshman year of high school, like that's been my favorite band ever since.
She also
tell them to look out for one of them who bought this shirt to wear it in the concert.
Yeah, he bought a shirt he's going to wear in the show tonight from here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Do you know which one it was?
Do you know which one Lincoln Park guy it was?
From the picture, I think it's one of the, I don't know.
She has no idea. If you want to know how bad this is, she had the drummer for Duran Duran in here and didn't know who he was.
Okay, that's not what I do.
Okay. The good thing was when Adam Sandler stopped in a couple of years ago, and Adam Sandler came in, she at least recognized Adam Sandler. She just didn't care. Also, he bought nothing.
Well, no, the other guy bought a free hat. Remember the shirt?
Adam Sandler has made you ever look this up? Adam Sandler career earnings.
Oh, yeah. We did talk about this before.
Adam Sandler career earnings is at, let's see. Oh, only $440 million. So he's like, what's his name? Shohei Ohtani, right?
Oh,
okay. And he couldn't even bother to buy it like a cap or something.
I thought, how long ago were they there? Because they were here until about 3:00.
Lincoln Park. That was when were they here today?
About 15 minutes before you got here. Like about a half.
Oh, just like a half hour ago.
Yeah, so they must have cut.
Yeah.
So I talked with a few of them, and they asked who I was, and I mentioned DK Pittsburgh Sports. So I
it was in the other order. They came back over here. I'm not going to tell everybody where they're staying. I don't want them to mob their hotel or whatever.
Oh,
but
yeah, of course not.
They're here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just like walking around like normal people.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
No, it was really, really cool. It was getting a lot of attention. They met with Aaron Rodgers for quite a bit.
Did they really?
Yeah, they were chatting with her. So when we first went into the cafeteria, and I saw Mike Shinoda right away and knew exactly. I was like, "Holy crap!" Like I put it together. I'm like, I knew they were playing at PPG tonight, but didn't think that they would be at Steelers practice today. But yeah, it was really, really cool. So that got a lot of attention. So there almost wasn't enough eyes to keep an eye out for Gabe Davis.
Right? Gabe Davis could have sneaked in. Though, like, no, man, it's just a roadie. Don't worry about him.
He could have. I mean, seriously, because like I said, it wasn't obviously just like fangirls like me. It was like it was a bunch of people that are like work for the team and everything. They were just getting a lot. I mean, they were obviously getting a lot of attention today.
That's good stuff here. There's there's a vacancy.
Oh, they gave me this, by the way. Sorry. Like, this is a Lincoln Park.
Oh,
they literally gave that to me because I said, I was like, you guys have been my favorite band for like more than 20 years. They were like, well, here you go. Here's a hat. I'm like,
oh, that's actually very cool. That's actually very cool. Cooler still if they believe you. You know what I mean? Like, bands probably hear stuff like that all the time, even when it's not the case. But it's just like if they can tell that you mean it, it's something that's completely different. We're at a spot now with this football team, Chris, where it feels like we're waiting for several shoes to drop. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, in particular before you and I fly down to Charlotte tomorrow night and the final preseason game is to drop. Among the shoes that need to drop, this team needs, and I think they think this now, not just the fans, a WR2. I'm sorry, you're not bringing Gabe Davis back twice. If you're saying, oh, we're satisfied with this position, or we're satisfied with the health status of Calvin Austin, or we're satisfied with what we've seen from Robert Woods, which you can't be, and they can't be. They wouldn't have him out there in the fourth quarter of a junk game the way they did the other night.
Right.
Can we agree, you and I, that this is Omar Khan basically sending up the flag that says, hey, we're in the market here. Let's go. WR2. Here we go.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to have specific conversations with sources just yet on this. But based off of the last information I've been told, the variable here to me that is important is the health of the position. It is Calvin Austin and him not recovering as quickly as maybe we initially expected. It is Ben Skoranek, who was out there for practice today. Don't have specifics on how much he participated, but he was.
He's fine. He told me he's fine, Chris, yesterday, walking past him, and he had his stuff on when we spoke, and he basically made it really clear that whatever was wrong isn't wrong now. And that makes sense because, as you and I said, when we saw him go down in the joint practice, we were like, I mean, you're hosed. This is not the time of year to be hurt and on the periphery of the roster.
No, it's not. Now, and the other thing to really put this whole Ben Skoranek thing into perspective is, listen, he's not WR2, and he's never going to be. That's on his role. So you have to look at all the full context here, and the context to me that's important is not just the health. You know, I mentioned that too, but also the fact that I was explicitly told the last time I checked, specifically asked about Gabe Davis. And normally whenever I talk to certain people on the inside, especially inside the team, they don't usually like to answer specific or give specific answers when I ask about specific players that are not playing for the team. And I got specific answers about Gabe Davis, and they were like, it's not really, we weren't comfortable with the medicals. We weren't comfortable with the way things looked in May. And because of that, like, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be a viable option before the season starts. Now, here we are. It's well before the season's beginning, before even the third preseason game is being played, and they're hosting him for another visit. So that is either they got brand new information that changed that perspective and they want to get a closer look again, or they really are getting that desperate to address this position before the season starts and really want to turn over every stone they possibly can.
Now, the question that I would have in this scenario, and I'm going to connect, or at least try to connect, two things that probably shouldn't be connected, but just for the heck of it. One reason I believe that the Cam Heyward situation remains outstanding, okay? It has not been addressed, and, you know, I mean, he's out there practicing, and who knows what they might have talked about or not or whatever, but it's not done. Would be that Omar is operating with cap space that he doesn't know that he has. Okay. And for a guy who used to be the cap guy, I'm sure that's uncomfortable. Like, I'm sure that if he just goes to Cam and says, hey, Cam, I got you all figured out here. Okay. Here, you're going to have all this and all this. And then he realizes he needs a WR2. What's he going to do? You know, where's he going to manufacture the cap space from?
So the good thing is that they have a really good amount of cap space.
They
and
do.
It's not they and the one thing that I've been told whenever I've asked questions about this position is anytime I brought up the cap, I always get that brushed aside. Oh, the cap's not a problem. Cap's not an issue. I'm like, all right. I mean, I believe you. I'm like, I don't need then to ask, well, how much cap space are you willing to go into this? I don't need to even ask. If I get literally like, it's not even almost worth answering the question. It doesn't matter that much. Like the cap is almost like, no, we're completely fine with the cap. And one time I can even say that is when I specifically asked about Terry McLaurin, when I was getting that information and I broke the news on that, was obviously if you are interested in trading for Terry McLaurin, that's going to require a pretty large contract extension. So the cap absolutely matters at that point. And the answer I got was, we would make the cap work. No big deal. I'm like, all right, well, then that's the answer that matters. So when you're then talking about Gabe Davis or Amari Cooper or any other possible receiver option that's out there, they're going to be cheaper than Terry McLaurin. And if you add the Cam Heyward situation on top of that, again, with the way these contract extensions work, and even if it's not an extension, it's a restructured thing where they take some money from next year and they bring it into this year. There's still enough cap space and then there's also the ability to restructure other contracts that are built to be restructured later to make more cap space. So the cap is not an issue when it comes to this or Cam Heyward or anything like that.
I like this question that just came in from Black and Gold Goggles, Chris. He says, DK, it seems the offensive line is struggling to open holes in the running game. Is this just them getting comfortable because it's early, or should we be worried? The first thing I would say to you, B&G, is this. Make sure that you are separating your first team offensive line from your second team OL, because what we have seen in both of the preseason games so far in Jacksonville and then the one across the river is the second team offensive line isn't getting anything done. Okay. They're getting swarmed. They look like the Bengals people that I mentioned earlier. Okay.
Oh, I don't think anybody's that bad.
Wow. Have you watched
terrible. That? I did. And oh my gosh.
It is special. It's like CGI. You actually don't even think it's real.
The fact that they let Joe Burrow out there in a preseason game to even like, if I would, the second I would have seen that one play, get off the field. Get off
the field, which I think he was trying to do. I think he should have just run back out of the end zone and down the tunnel.
He should have just ran to the sideline, ran out of bounds, taken the sack or however that goes, and told what's his face? Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going back out there until the games matter. Sorry, but I'm pulling rank on this one as your franchise quarterback.
But the Steelers' second team offensive line hasn't looked a whole heck of a lot better, and that's the point that I'm making. Is that I think and I know I'm guilty of this, might be blurring those two. When the Steelers' first team offensive line has been out there, which, by the way, has only been for a few snaps in both games, they've had at least one decent run. Okay, there was that 7-yarder in Jacksonville. It's a difficult thing to evaluate. They haven't been great on the run, including in Latrobe. Okay, they really haven't. I believe that they have the capability to be good at it, though. I think that's just a matter of pinning your ears back.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that's encouraging from what we can take in the preseason, and actually today's Chalk Talk that I just uploaded about an hour or so ago, is Caleb Johnson he looked way more natural as a runner. And there were some actually a few different plays that were blocked up pretty well, but it's also watching him and the way he's reading and reacting to the line. Now, there's also one time where Dylan Cook is literally trying to block a guy with his back because he's out of position, and it just looks terrible. And you obviously get, really bad results when that happens. But I think it's way too early to be officially pushing the panic button on me like, hey, they're not going to be able to run the ball. That being said, it's going to be a matter that's worthy of concern until proven otherwise, because this is a young offensive line outside of Jaylen Warren. It's Kenny Gainwell, who's a veteran, but he's never really been he's never had a really large sample size when it comes to getting a really big bulk of carries. And then Caleb Johnson's a rookie, so he's a question mark too, because all rookies are question marks until they prove something. So yeah, it's going to be a matter of concern until proven otherwise.
Chris's evil alter ego, the butthole, says, how much play action will the Steelers use in 2025? They have used a lot this summer.
And they used a lot last year, too, a lot more than we were used to seeing under Matt Canada or previous offensive coordinators. So, yeah, I believe you're going to see a good amount of play action here. I do think you're going to see more shotgun and pistol than we saw last year, and I think that's because of who the quarterback is this year as opposed to last year. But I still think you're going to see a good amount of play action from this offense.
Jordan Jarvie says, do you think that Corey Trice makes the team? My answer to that, Jordan, is going to be that Trice looks like your perfect IR designated to return candidate. You just don't know what you're going to get from him. As Terrell Austin told us in the room yesterday, he said he's got all kinds of potential and everything, but you just don't see it because he's not out there. And that's not ripping on the kid. That's not questioning his desire or his will or anything like that. It's just pointing out the obvious. If you're not playing, you can't play. In Trice's case, and I think a couple others, maybe you're going to see the Steelers put that fairly new designation on the player that allows him to, you don't have to wipe him out for the season. He can come back about halfway through. What is it, 6 weeks?
Yeah,
Something like that.
It might be 4 weeks.
Okay, then you buy him time to come back from his current injury, and maybe you do that even with, oh boy, I don't even want to say this out loud, but maybe you think about doing that with Calvin Austin, because Cal was talking yesterday, Chris, like a guy who sounds like he knows he's going to open up on some kind of list. Okay, the way he kept saying, I'm just going to listen to the coaches and the medical staff, going to listen to the coaches and the medical staff. That's not Cal. That's not Cal. Cal is ready to, because he knows something is up. And when you're talking about an abdominal issue, which it is with Cal, man, any athlete that's ever dealt with these will tell you it's just beyond frustrating, which actually was Cal's word for it, because you think you've got it. You think you're ready to really rev it up. And then it tells you, not yet. And you go, ugh.
Yeah, abdominal injuries. There are certain injuries that really, really linger.
Mm-hmm.
And the one big thing with any abdominal injury is you use your abs for everything. Everything. I mean, obviously, like when you have calf injuries and stuff like that, like you need your legs in order to walk.
Sure.
You can at least sit down and rest those muscles, whether it's a hamstring or a quad or a calf, whatever it is. You cannot rest your abs. Your abs are used for everything. I mean, I think anybody who's had any kind of surgery on their abdomen learns that really quickly. Like, I don't even feel like I'm doing anything with my abs. And yet, like, I remember I had an inguinal hernia repair one time, and the recovery from that is like, I literally use my abs for everything that I do. And this is frustrating. So for a professional athlete literally part of their job is taking care of their body and keeping it in the best shape possible. And when you have to rest those muscles, like I can understand frustrating being probably the best adjective for that for Calvin, because I know how badly he wants to be out there.
And as long as we're running through injuries here, Gene Smith asks, seriously, we all love Christian Kuntz. Your opinion on the long snapper? If you didn't see my reporting on the DK Pittsburgh Sports app yesterday, both Tomlin and Kuntz were adamant that this is short term, that it was a chest issue. It was not, there's nothing, serious there, nothing broken or anything like that. But as we went into the locker room, after I talked to the head coach out in the grass, and we come back into the locker room, and Tomlin yells out to all the reporters, hey, there's Christian Kuntz right there. Go ask him yourself. Ask him if he's fine. I love when he does that. And he usually does it at Kuntz's expense.
Always.
And Kuntz turns around and looks at him and goes, I'm going to go take a shower. I'll see you guys.
That's awesome.
Gotta love the local lad with the Duquesne ties having the sense of humor, as well as the head coach in that one. But yes, he's going to be fine. The Steelers, of course, are going to have a contingency at long snapper. They love him, if that's what you're asking, Gene.
Oh yeah, they
long snapper. If you saw the preseason game the other night when he went down, did you see all of the specialists surrounding him. Chris Boswell, all the punters, everybody went around him, like it was their kid. Everybody loves Christian Kuntz.
Yeah, he is a very popular player in that locker room. There is a reason why Mike Tomlin does that. And it's funny because like there are random times in which it's a brand new player that comes in the locker room or whatever it is, and everybody's going to flock over to that one player, and Tomlin will be doing his normal, walk around the locker room after practice, just chatting it up, and then he'll every now and then do that where he just barks over at the reporters in the locker room. He'll be like, "Hey, come over here and talk with Christian." Like that is all the seriously. It's funny. He is guaranteed to do that at least 2 to 3 times a season, at least. And it's
Christian Kuntz is available, you guys.
Yeah, it's
but
awesome.
This one was different
awesome.
because he wanted to call attention to the fact that Kuntz was walking around and mobile and was not a concern.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that here. We'll get just a couple more here today. Josh Freeland. Oh, he's bringing up more injuries. Well, will Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig be healthy to start the season? Let's begin first with who's healthy or not to participate in Charlotte. My feeling is that both of these players would be held out of that game because what would be the point if they have existing injuries? You don't want to risk aggravating those. But what if they weren't healthy is what Josh asks. DeMarvin Leal is solid in the run but lacks a pass rush. Jack Sawyer seems to be promising, but I would Sawyer's not. No. Okay. Sawyer's got a long way to go, guys. Okay. Yeah. Just put him on a separate shelf for you here. But I feel like, Chris, one guy that we haven't talked about this season, and this includes in our own little conversations that we have, is Leal. What we'll do every once in a while is DeMarvin makes a play and we'll go to each other, because we did it the other night. We go, oh, yeah. DeMarvin, that was DeMarvin. Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. He threw somebody down like pretty violently in the Jacksonville game. No, yeah. Here, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Buccaneers, yeah. Listen, when it comes to the edge rusher position, especially when you're looking at Highsmith, I wouldn't anticipate Highsmith playing. I don't think Herbig is going to play. I understand that Tomlin said that all healthy players except for Rodgers, Watt, Heyward, and Metcalf are going to be available to play pretty much. But that also does take into account the players coming back from injury. So I wouldn't expect those two guys to play. And the Steelers just signed, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, which goes to show how relevant he's going to be. But a kid who played for in the USFL last year, they just signed him and waived Gareth Warren to make room for him. And the initial reaction to me is that's just another warm body for the final preseason game at edge rusher. So I would assume that both Highsmith and Herbig are not going to play Thursday night in Carolina, just to make sure, hey, listen, it's way more important that these guys are healthy and ready for week 1 rather than get meaningless reps in a preseason game that really does not matter.
Yeah, we're looking at possibly bringing James Harrison back as long snapper. That didn't go so well.
Logan Lee did pretty well, man. Logan Lee did pretty good in Kuntz's absence.
By the way, really fun, another fun Tomlin interaction yesterday because he was in that kind of a mood. We were talking about, in general, the status of Christian Kuntz or whatever, and he was asked, not by me, he was asked if, why Ben Sauls ended up getting those late kicks instead of Chris Boswell. And he said, because of Christian Kuntz's injury. And you could tell that none of us standing there knew what the heck he was talking about. And it kind of tilted our heads here, and he repeated it. He goes, because of Christian Kuntz's injury. Still nothing, right? We're just dead brains, right? Like, I've been fried out there in the sun and everything. So the press conference ends, and as he's walking away from the podium, and he goes, and he turns around and says real loud, he goes, I wasn't going to let him kick with Logan Lee snapping. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. You don't want to get your all-pro kicker possibly killed just in case the snap goes bad.
We're going to take one more here today, and that's going to be it. Matt says, is Gabe Davis in a contract situation where there's no point in paying him more than league minimum because the Jaguars have to pick up the rest? Pretty much. I mean, I'm not going to get too much into his contract stuff until we start getting, some indication that he's actually healthy. I see a lot of you are mentioning in the live chat here that you've looked at his film and that he looks slow. The stuff that he's put on social media, I got to tell you, if he has film and he has his own athletic trainers and medical people working with him, and I would presume that he does for the amount of money that he's looking at here, the Steelers already know what his speed is. They don't have to guess at it. Okay. They don't have to look at an Instagram clip and say, oh, he looks slow. They're already going to have all of this information. So they also wouldn't have invited him back if they knew for a fact that he was slow.
Remember the old adage that when you look at a roller coaster, it doesn't look like it's going that fast.
Yeah.
When you get on the ride, it's actually a lot faster than it looks. When you watch players in person, it looks a lot faster than when you watch it on a video. So take what you see on video with a grain of salt. That being said, the Steelers will not sign him if they are not comfortable with where he is medically. They just won't. I know that I don't have to text anybody to get an answer on that. I know that for a fact. They will not sign him if they are concerned at all about medicals. And it's just common sense at that point. If they feel like he's in a good spot, or he's at least going to be in a spot in which we can sign him, we can put him on IR, designated to return, and then by the time week 5 rolls around, or week 6, because week 5 is their bye, week 6 rolls around, that he's going to be good to go. He will have learned the offense by then, and whatever it is, okay, great. Then you figure out receiver for the first 4 games, and just hope that DK Metcalf doesn't go down with an injury during that time, obviously. But the Steelers would not be bringing him in for another visit if they weren't even a little bit interested, or at least want to see, okay, we had him for the initial visit. It's now been a couple of months, almost 3 months now. Let's see how things are going now. Let's see how the knee's looking, and let's see if this is still going to be a viable option, or if our concerns are still valid.
Guys, we appreciate you being with us. We appreciate those of you who are constantly sending things in here too, that you're seeing from other sources and outlets and whatever else here, and that Gabe Davis is going to visit with Buffalo next week. This is status quo for him. I just don't see how, and I said this yesterday.
You ready?
You didn't have medicals that lined up in May, but magically you're going to show up in August and everything's going to be A-okay. As Chris has been reporting, they were not satisfied with those medicals. I just don't know what would have happened. You're not going to grow a new ligament.
No, but
in June, July, and August. That's 3 months.
No, but I mean, you can see, how the meniscus is healing, because he had the surgery a while ago. But the fact that he had the initial injury in the 2023 season, the final game of the 23 season, and then, obviously, I think it was week 10 last year is when everything went pop. It's going to be an injury that's going to take some time to recover from. And, maybe MRIs and everything look a little bit different, and you would hope that they look different over the course of 2 to 3 months. But, we'll see, man. It is interesting that he's coming back for a visit, but I'm still skeptical, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how all of that plays out here. Guys, make sure you're going and downloading the app. That's our app, not YouTube, not Spotify, not any other thing. Our app at DK Pittsburgh Sports. That's where we're doing all of our work. When I was there at the facility all day yesterday, that's where I was pumping all my content. That's where Chris is pumping all of his content today. Plain and simple, that's where we do our stuff. We have had a tremendous response over the past 3 or 4 days. You're actually wearing me down with this one, to be honest with you. For the discount that I'm offering for the premium level of the app, it's a 2/3 off. Okay. All you got to do is download the app. See Chris's smiling face up there? Wait, he's not smiling, even though Lincoln Park is in town. Okay, now he is. Right. You can download the app right under his face there, dkps.net/Apple, dkps.net/Android. It's free to download. We're not trying to trick you into anything. When you get there, you're going to see that the ad has a lot of or the app has a lot of ads, and there's a free level, and then there's also a premium level. If you want the good level, hear me out here. Email me, meaning me directly, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. I'm typing it up here so you can see it visually. Send that directly to me and just say, hey, I got the app. Just like Sean just did here. See that? Get the app. It's awesome. Well, that's because Sean went and upgraded to the premium version. If you want to do that, there's my email right there. Just send me a thing that says, hey, I got the app. You don't even have to explain yourself or anything. I got the app. Hook me up with the discount. We'll take care of that via email. Chris, final thoughts today.
I think this team is starting to really I really think they're starting to gel. And I think Aaron Rodgers is a big part of that. He continues to be very impressive in a lot of things that he does, not just in the way he looks on the field and in practice, but to hear things today, like what he said about Ramon Wilson prior to practice, how, he made a couple of big plays, but listen, it's all about attention to detail, and we're going to coach him up it's almost like those two plays weren't good enough. And I don't think that was done in a bad way. I think that's done in a way because he was just saying, if we wouldn't be saying these kind of things about him if he were just some other guy, some other filler guy. We believe he could be something really special, and that's why we're going to hold him. I think he said like a high standard or standard of excellence. And I thought that was a really, really interesting way that Rodgers asked or answered a question about Ramon Wilson, about, working with the receivers on details and things like that. So it's really, I think Rodgers continues to be as impressive as possible, and continues to be, and from what I've been saying, the best quarterback this team has had since pre-arm injury Ben.
Pre-arm injury Ben, indeed. Let's let Chris get back to work over there. Here, don't forget to email me. You can see the address down there. Let me know you got the app. Somebody literally just did that while we were on. And Chris, I'll see you tomorrow.
At the airport.
Oh, yeah, at the airport. All right, guys, take care.